Well, Jim, it's really awesome to be with you today. And yeah, I know you get this question a lot, but you are the defending champion of this tournament. You did it without fans. It's going to be absolutely awesome because this Warwick crowd, they really like their golf. That's for sure.
Yeah, the community there has always been good to the PGA Tour, now the Champions Tour. And I'll say the guys on the Champions Tour really, I guess they appreciate it, right? We love to play in front of big crowds. We love to play in front of those communities that come out and support the events full force. And it gives us that bigger feel. It's more fun to play in front of. And I'm excited to see 17 again. I haven't seen a rowdy 17 since 2008. So I'm excited to see what it looks like this year. And, I'm anxious to get back to Warwick.
Yeah, well, I parted when I played a couple weeks ago, but I'm sure you got a lot bigger goal in mind. Starting right there, now you come right out. You won the first two events you played, and then you won the U.S. Senior Open recently. Your game's firing on all cylinders. Can you see yourself vacillating between the regular tour and the Champions Tour for a while?
Well, not really. Since I played the PGA Tour early in the year this year before May, but if you look at our schedule on the Champions Tour, we didn't really, because of COVID, because of we had events canceled in Newport and Japan and Morocco. So our schedule was a little thin in the spring, and I wanted to play. So I ended up playing on the PGA Tour quite a bit. I think I played about 7 events this spring. And then as soon as May hit, I pretty much, turned it over to playing all on the Champions Tour. And I kind of foresee that for the future. I may play a PGA Tour event here and there, but for the most part, I'm planning on playing the Champions Tour full time and supporting that cause.
Now, you still see guys like Bernhard Langer winning in his early 60s, and some other guys are in contention. But is the Champions Tour more of a young man's game where you're a 51-year-old rookie, or do you think guys can still win in their mid to late 50s on a competitive level?
The window's a lot smaller on the Champions Tour than it is, say, on the PGA Tour, right? PGA Tour, that window could be from 25 to 45, where you see the bulk of your career, and even later for some of your best players. Usually, Champions Tour, they used to say, 50 to 55, you hit it real hard, you stay competitive from 55 to 60. It's really difficult after 60, but there's always exceptions to the rules. You have the Hale Irwins, the Bernhard Langers, some great players. And I think guys are keeping themselves in good shape. They're staying hungry. They're working on their games. So you see it, but your window on the Champions Tour is about a 10-year window, and then the great ones like Hale Irwin and Bernhard might take it a little longer. On the PGA Tour, that window is much larger.
Speaking of Warwick, is there one shot you feel like you got to execute to stay up with the field, or to get ahead of the field with a certain one? Like hole 13 or 14, there's that great big huge tree out there, and you almost got to go left side to hit the green in 2. Is that a shot you think about? Or
instead of looking at the golf course from like one particular shot, when I think about Warwick, if I'm getting ready for Warwick Hills, I'm going to work on driving the ball straight, getting the ball in play, putting it in the fairway. And if I do that, if all of us do that, if you drive the ball accurately, you're going to have a lot of wedges and a lot of short irons to certain greens. Now there's some very difficult holes. I think a 15 is being one of the tougher holes on the golf course. 9's tough to get it in play, and that green's difficult to make par. But if you put the ball in play, you're going to get your opportunities with a wedge, sand wedge, 9-iron, and you're going to give, so I'm going to work on my driver on the way in. I'm going to work on my wedge game. I'm going to hit a lot of wedge shots, pull out a track man, kind of dial in my yardages from 125 yards and in. If I do that, I get a lot of birdie opportunities. I give myself a chance to play well. So when I break that golf course down, those are two things that throughout my career that I was always pretty good at when I was playing well. And I think that's why I had a lot of success at Warwick over the years.
And that's probably a great lesson for other people getting ready for tournaments, is to dial in those yardages. The TrackMan never hurts. I heard last year you were talking about you hit the ball as far as you did on the tour because of equipment. Is that the way I interpret it, or is it the ball? Is it both? What is your
I consider both the golf ball and the driver equipment. There's no way that I'm creating as much power or speed at 51 as I was when I was 31, but I'm still hitting the ball. The last year I played the PGA Tour full time was 2019, 2020, my driving distance my average was 281. My longest driving average in my entire career was 282. So,
Wow.
the second longest I've had in my entire career was when I was 49 to 50 years old. I'd love to tell you that I was more fit than I ever was in my life, but that's just not true. So,
Yeah.
a lot of that is due to equipment, golf balls, drivers. And there was two major leaps in my career. I had two major jumps in driving distance for averages, and they were about 9 yards both times. One was when we went to titanium headed drivers back in the late 90s, and then right around turn of the century, 2001, somewhere in there, it was when everyone really started to play kind of solid golf balls instead of wound golf balls. And those were two massive jumps. So, if you can gain 2 or 3 yards on your average a year, and you do that over the course of 10 years, you're gaining 20 to 30 yards. Well, that would be massive. That would be huge in this game. And here I had 2 years in my career where I gained 8 to 9 yards just in 1 year. So those two big leaps allowed us to basically attack golf courses in a totally different way. And that distance race really hasn't stopped. Now, it used to be if you found a guy that could fly at 300 yards, that was like, wow. Or you could average 300 yards. That was wow. Now the top 100 on the PGA Tour average about 300 yards. So the game's changed significantly.
Final thing, you repeat at Warwick Hills and hold up the trophy again this year. What happens? Or at least have a strong shot at it. What will happen? You'll drive
I'm sorry.
well. If you're gonna defend this year for the Allied Challenge, what do you see that you need to accomplish?
Oh, I got you. One of the things that I don't think I've done as well this year as I've done in the past is I haven't driven the ball as well as I normally do. My fairways hit percentage is way down. I've been working on it really, really hard. Even this week, I've been kind of working on the driver, and so I need to kind of get back to my old ways. I need to start hitting fairways. Not worrying about distance as much, but hitting the ball in the short grass. If I do that, I think I can give myself an opportunity. My wedge game feels good. I've been putting well, but you never know what's going to happen. And Warwick's a place where you have to go out there. You have to shoot 400 or 500 par every day to give yourself a chance. And if you get ahead of yourself, if you're not patient, if you press the issue a little too much, it'll bite you. So I think right now for me, probably staying patient and getting the ball in the fairway would be key.